I would like to welcome you to this water distribution workshop. And now we have officially signed the MOU. And personally, I'm very interested in getting out there and get it to work. So my name is Michael Rosenberg Petersen. I am the Senior Technical Advisor at the Danish Consulate in Silicon Valley. I arrived in California back in September, and I'm here for a period of 3 years. I'm a hydrogeologist of background, and in Denmark I have been working with groundwater management. I've also been working with hydraulic and geological modeling. And for the last 10 years, I've been working and in charge of delivering drinking water to the second largest city in Denmark. I'm on leave from my Danish water utility, and I'm here in California to share knowledge, but also to learn from the utilities in California, especially how to maintain these large utilities and operate them, but also to look into how you do more advanced water treatment. The today event is on Zoom, and all the people attending this event, they are not shown on video. There are no microphone as well. It's only the panelists that we are able to see and hear. And that's because we are it's a tight program. But anyway, we would like you all, if you have comments or remarks or good ideas, to add them. There is a Q&A symbol at the bottom of the screen. So please, if you have good ideas and so on, please feel free to comment. Also, the event is actually taped on video, or as it is today, maybe saved in the cloud somewhere. So just that this is all something that we can look back at, and you will have a link distributed later on. We also have an artist, a live artist named Ross on this event today. And Ross, he is from the Sketch Effect, and he's joining from Atlanta in Georgia. And he'll be doing some active listening throughout today's discussions, and he'll bring what is shared to life in a virtually compiling and memorable way. And we will, at the end of the session, when we wrap up, we will join Ross to see what he has been doing. Today we have tried to put up or make a program that where we have 3 different panels. The first one is where we look at from idea to reality, where we touch the ideas about the collaboration agreement and how it all started. The second is looking back to look forward. It is collection of learnings and examples and ideas from my 2 predecessors in my current position. And the third and last panel is where we are trying to look forward, where issues and challenges from both California and Denmark are defined, and ideas for future collaboration hopefully are generated. And of course, we would love to have your responses. So please feel free to if you have any ideas for future work, to add it in the Q&A. With that, I would like to introduce the first panel. And the first panel is actually only one person, but it is Jacob Wendt. And Jacob, he was part of the Danish outreach team on water in California that kicked off in 2017. And Jacob, he led the Danish water team and was an integrated part of the original MOU. Jacob, he has since moved first to Texas and is now in DC, where he works with the ambassador on all Danish trade and investment matters. I know that Jacob still holds California, and especially the California water, near to and dear to his heart. So welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Michael. That's very true. It's almost hurting to re-experience all of this. I'm super happy, but I also miss it quite a lot, I have to be honest.
So Jacob, regarding the first MOU, what were you thinking? What was the idea?
Well, thank you, Michael. So, well, first of all, we had launched the Water Technology Alliance in April of 2016. This Danish national outreach program, and we were extremely encouraged by the reception we'd gotten in California and what we were seeing, both from regulators and utility folks and industry. Great reception. So in the late summer of 2016, the Danish EPA reached out to the embassy in DC with an aim to establish a working program with the federal EPA and think tanks out of Washington, DC. And our good colleague Morten at the embassy, he called me and asked me what I thought about the idea. And I think I told him in a manner not fully suited for diplomacy, that I thought California was a better option than kind of the federal level. And it is, I would say. Just as Denmark is a front runner state in the European Union, California is a front runner state in the US when it comes to environmental stewardship and climate action. We've just heard it all before. We have equal ambitions, so it's a no-brainer. And luckily, I would say the Danish EPA are really good at listening. So they decided to spend their time on resources in California instead of Washington, DC. And that was kind of at least from the Danish side, the missing piece to make that happen. They might have been a little bit annoyed with us, I think, initially, but I actually got a thank you call a few days after the election in November 2016, where I think the Danish EPA were quite happy to be working with California and not the federal EPA. Anyway, I think that's kind of at least the considerations that went into it. I would say that a few months after that, I was sat in then Governor Brown's office with our ambassador and a Danish cabinet secretary discussing a formal MOU on water. So things moved pretty quickly after that.
And what are your experiences? What worked, and is there anything that we can learn from with the new MOU from what happened back then?
Well, I think it was Wade Secretary Crowfoot who said it eloquently. It's not just symbolic; it's action based. We work together. That's what makes this MOU fantastic, and why I'm so proud of it personally. So that the short answer is great people on both sides, and actual dialogue, actual projects, actual collaboration. That's really the magic of this. Visionary, open politicians, regulators, utility professionals, companies, extraordinary public servants, and innovators, really. So, obviously, mentioning our great partners in Denmark, Lars Schrøder is here, Aarhus Water, the Danish utilities who are open and constantly keep sending great people like you, Pia, Jesper, others who part of this over here with very high knowledge base to actually provide value in this knowledge sharing relationship is super important. Again, the Danish EPA, the fact that they're so open to sharing and traveling over here and just being part of those discussions, I think is a great testament to them. I often in the US, when people talk about regulators should step aside to leave the room for innovation and the private sector to innovate, I always stand up and say it's the opposite. I think the regulators should help drive innovation. They're part of the solution, and I think the Danish EPA certainly is that. And then I would say on the California side, from me personally, I've met with Governor Brown. I've met with two water SARs, heads of various departments, professors, utility executive, board members, utility managers, operators, the whole level of the industry. And they're all so passionate for water. Their mindsets are open. They're hardworking, extremely hardworking, and extremely dedicated and fun. So it's just, I mean, that's just really what makes this work. Is people are amazing, I think, on both sides. I'll still have Twitter conversations with Felicia Marcus, the former chair of the State Water Board, on a Saturday night around something, and talk to Rosemary. And it's just, so a lot of this has also developed into friendships, at least for me. Matt's colleague June Lopez at Mopen Nigel, she's an energizer bunny without, it's just, they're fantastic people. And then one more thing, if I can just take another minute, I would highlight, and this is already leading into it, is I think, again, Felicia Marcus, former chair, said at the first MOU, the secret sauce to this collaboration is the social element. We simply work well together. We have fun together. Not that it's just fun and games. We actually also create results, but I think the fact that we just click well on a social level is important. And just to exemplify again what Californians are made of, we've had a number of fact-finding trips back to Denmark, and I took a group swimming in the harbor of Copenhagen on a freezing December day. It was part of a tour about water management, discharge, and recreational water. There's a clear professional element wanting to show that urban waters can be clean, but it was cold. And they went in the water without, shying, blinking. Maybe they shrieked a little bit just touching the water. And I even had one go in the water despite the fact that she didn't swim, but she went in anyway. She hung on to the railing. So it's just, amazing people. I know it's a fluffy answer, but it is the truth. So that's the best I can say.
Well, Jacob, no doubt, and there are still a lot of history and stories going around out here when we mention you. So that's great. So but what about now? Now you're in a different position and another place in the organization. So is that good for us in any way?
I hope it is. I would definitely use every vein in my body and cell in my brain. I know it's not that impressive, but to make sure this collaboration continues, it's not my responsibility anymore, unfortunately, but I definitely have a little bit of a role making sure that resources, at least on the Danish side, are still flowing towards having the personnel there, having the capacity to do these fact-finding trips, and hopefully also supporting projects like the Stanford project that we heard about, which was not just collaboration on the professional side, but also collaboratively financed, which I think is, we all need to have skin in the game in something like this. So hopefully I can contribute a little bit there. And then, once in a while, I still get I'm allowed in to have some smaller conversation. I really appreciate that.
Well, that sounds good, Jacob. And as always, it's interesting talking to you. And so I'll just say thank you very much for being a part of this first panel. We're off in the right direction, I think. And then we'll head on to the next panel. First, I would like to introduce the first technical advisor from Denmark who was in Silicon Valley. It is Pia. Pia, she was in California from 2016 to 2018. And Pia is today back in Denmark and head of development at Aarhus Utility. Welcome, Pia.
Thank you very much, Michael.
And the second panelist is Jesper Elkjær. He took over from Pia in 2018, and Jesper, he left California after the pandemic sort of closed the whole world last summer. Jesper is now working back in Denmark as chief consultant in the planning department at Greater Copenhagen Water HOFOR. Welcome, Jesper.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, first of all, I would like to hear from the two of you what lessons you have learned and if there's something that you can pass on to me, please.
Of course, Michael. Should I go first?
Yes, please.
Coming to California, and you see, I still miss it. I have a picture from Hedge in my bag. It really opened up my mind on a lot of things, how utilities are dependent on climate in the country and a lot of different conditions. We don't see the same risk from earthquake, droughts, landslides in that serious degree as you see in California, and that gives a perspective to looking into systems. And also focusing on multiple water resources. I brought back this inspiration and is now leading our strategy on non-potable reuse, or as we call it, alternative types of water. So really to see how can we benefit of using different types of water for different purposes.
Yes. And Jesper, what about you?
Well, I think what I experienced in California, it's a huge country. It's very diverse. You have very progressive utilities. You have not so progressive utilities in California. And I think there's a lot of utilities, not all of them, because some are very progressive, but a lot of them has a lot to learn about going digital. They have monthly meter readings doing manually, like a person going out reading meters every month. So that could be done automatically. You can collect a lot of data from your systems. You can use VFDs and so on in a lot of utilities and save energy, doing things more smart, making more wise what call it decisions for your systems, your investments, and so on. So, but I think what you should take with you is that it's a very diverse state. There's all kinds of utilities. Some are very small, some are so huge you can't imagine it. So you have to take that into account. So yeah, there's not a one size fits all in California.
No, and I envy you two guys, because you have been actually out talking to people. You have actually been out there looking at facilities and so on. And up till now, I have been sort of grounded at home due to the COVID. You also have some slides. Is it something that you will share with us now, or?
Sorry, I thought you were sharing. It doesn't matter, we don't need them. It was just some photographs.
Yes.
Yeah, you can move forward.
I think it's sharing now.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
You can skip the first ones.
Next.
Yeah, I already talked about looking at these different streams of water as a resource for covering different needs. So you can skip to the next one. And this is just one example of seeing a dam of or water collected that is purified wastewater, but I could transfer some of these solutions and thoughts about reusing different water types to Denmark. And you, on your right hand, you have a picture of a new development in our city where they will use rainwater for toilet flushing and clothes washing. So there are transfer of different strategies and visions, and of course solutions. So
and dear if I may ask, is the picture to the right, is it something special in Denmark that we are using surface water?
Oh yes, it's the first one of its kind. So there's a lot of interest in what is going on, and I have had great dialogues, especially with SFPUC people on what learnings I could bring back home. Yeah, this is just a few moments of my time in California. We had a lot of talk on water consumption and of course on water loss. And I enjoyed very much following the process of making the water loss audit mandatory in California. A lot of good dialogues. And of course, when you start comparing data, that opens up for a lot of questions. And we looked into different data sets and also what activities could you grab to or that would lower down water loss, but also improve efficiency. And one project was in South Tahoe Public Utility, where we looked into pressure management. And we also looked at pressure management in other systems. One was Yerba Buena Island with SFPUC. And it was both how to control the pressure by pumps, but also, of course, to control various pressure by pressure reduction valves. So to bring this controlling element into play, so you could have variations in your control and not just a steady state pressure. And then we had a lot of discussions on DMAs. You don't see that much when you go out in California, but of course you find pilots and also some areas that tested out district metered areas. We have had a lot of values of implementing that in Denmark, and you see that in more larger cities. And I guess it wasn't just a talk on how to do the implementation, it was also the value, not only to see the water balance in different sections, but also other values of having all this data that Jesper mentioned in the beginning. So a lot of good dialogue. And like Jacob, I really enjoyed meeting all the water professionals in the US. And I could use more dialogue than we have, but I will try to reach out from time to time. Yeah, and maybe skip to the next one, because that's what really was, I think, the most learning part. Jacob also mentioned the fact-finding trips, and here you see some water professionals in Denmark in the right element with rain. And we were going to a water tour in Aarhus to drink water from different fountains. As you see in the front, there's a small fountain for water, but we only did the one because it started raining so much. But bringing people with so much experience, we had in this group many, many years of experiences. So you can imagine how a lot of knowledge was shared and a lot of good questions came up on those trips.
Great.
Yeah, I think that was what I brought. And Jesper, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. This is a picture from Molson Miguel, where we had some visitors from Denmark. It was Vifkok, a Danish leak detection company that had a training program at Molson Miguel. So they did some strategic training with the staff in the office. They also learned about tools, what tools to use for leak detection. And then they had some field training like we saw here, where they went out and found a leakage that they couldn't find with their own equipment. So they used some of the equipment that Livcog had brought to them. And it was a great success. And Livcog was supposed to come back last year, late March, but then the Corona pandemic came, and so I think they have put this agreement on hold. And I hope that Livcog can come back perhaps this summer when they all have the vaccine and so on. So please, next slide. This is a slide from what's called
Coachella Valley.
Yeah, Coachella Valley Water. Yes, correct. Where we went to see some leak detection. They had a crew. I think they have probably the most professional crew I have seen in California to do leak detection. They have a lot of equipment and vans for that. So they're very good at that. Next picture, please. I can't remember how many pictures we had. Oh yeah, this is from LADWP, where we wanted to make pilots on pressure management and DMA to see how much water we're going into a zone and measure it, and at the same time regulate the pressure. And I was supposed to go to this meeting with one of a colleague from a Danish company. He flew all the way to LA, but got delayed in Amsterdam or London, I don't know where, but he didn't make it for a meeting. So when I went to the airport to go back to Bay Area, he came in with the afternoon flight to Los Angeles and took the flight back home afterwards. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's Pia's picture from.
Well, again, I envy you because you have been out there seeing all this stuff. But one thing I sort of get is that I have to make sure if we bring Danish specialists over, we have to make sure that the flights are on schedule and so on.
Yeah, one day in advance.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you very much. It's been nice seeing you, and I know that you are always welcome back. And also, when I talk to people in the water business, you have done a great job, and it's nice for me to be next in line and try to take over from where you left. So thank you very much. And then I think we have to rush to the next panel.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck, Michael.
Thank you. So in the third session, we will try to see if we can look forward. And we have two people from California and two from Denmark in this panel. And from California, we have Max Gomberg, Climate and Conservation Manager from State Water Resource Control Board. And Max, he has been part of some of the government-to-government knowledge sharing with Denmark regarding their water resources and unaccounted for water. We also have Matt Collings, Assistant General Manager from Multong-Nigel Water District. And Matt he has been working together with the Danish team on different projects. We have seen some of it. And it's have covered everything from proactive leak detection to pressure management and also advanced meter infrastructure. From Denmark, we have Hans Peter. He's function manager with water supply unit from the Danish Environmental Protection Agency. Hans Peter, he has been deeply involved in the regulation in the water sector in Denmark with specific focus on drinking water. And at least, and finally, we have Lars Schrøder, the CEO of Aarhus Water, a progressive water utility in Denmark with ambitions of reaching outside the Danish borders when it comes to research and development projects. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to talk about the main concerns and challenges that you are seeing in the future and facing. And if we start out with California, then and also the regulators. So I would like to ask you, Max, what do you see in the future? What is the challenges? And
Thank you, Michael, and it's nice to be here with you all. Nice to see you, Pia and Jesper, and Jacob. Again, so in California, we have a very long list of challenges that I know you all on the Danish side have become familiar with over the years of this partnership. Climate change is really driving so many of our challenges, and we're already experiencing its effects, whether that's droughts, forest fires, water scarcity, and the need for conservation, among others. And so we are, as a state, addressing those challenges head on. You heard from both of our cabinet secretaries earlier this morning about our resilience portfolio and other initiatives. Specifically, when it comes to water infrastructure, we have many wastewater facilities that are vulnerable to sea level rise. Many of our drinking water systems are vulnerable to both drought, aging infrastructure, the need for improved use of technology. I believe someone mentioned digitization earlier. So we have a lot of challenges, but a lot of focus and enthusiasm as a state to meet them as part of our overall climate change response. And I think Jacob mentioned earlier the importance of regulatory innovation as part of this space. I'm a regulator, of course, so I'm biased in favor of regulation, but I see that some of the regulation we are driving in California, recycled water, water loss, water use efficiency, is creating the space for innovations by utilities at the local level, like Molten Miguel, where Matt works. So we have many challenges, we have a lot of opportunities, and we have benefited tremendously from this MOU and these partnerships, not only at my level from regulator to regulator, but also utility to utility, and then also in the private sector, as well as in the academic sector, with projects like that led by Rosemary at Stanford.
yeah, and then what about in Denmark, Hans Peter? How do you see the future? I have to unmute, I think. Oh. Yeah, I'm sure it's not because we don't have any issues in Denmark, but it seems that we have a little issue with the microphone, maybe.
So again, the hallmark of a good collaboration, Hans Peter is making Wade Crowfoot look, just like the rest of us. It's, just taking one for the team, Hans Peter. I like that. It's good.
It doesn't work, sorry. Well, anyway, we can just leave it for there right now, and then you can see if it's gonna work a little later. Then I will turn to the water utilities. And what about you, Lars, in Denmark? What do you as a water utility think about the future and the challenges?
First of all, good morning, everyone over there, and good evening, everyone over here. It's really an honor to participate today. In Aarhus Water, it's very important for us to have collaboration with colleagues all over the world, and especially you colleagues from California has given us a lot, lots of experience, lots of knowledge sharing, lots of technologies. So it's really very, very important for a utility like Aarhus Water to collaborate across borders, to collaborate with US utilities and with you colleagues in California. And we have very much the same challenges, except California is much bigger than Denmark. You know, we have mapped the groundwater as Rosemary Knight told about. We did that many years ago, but still we have challenges to protect the groundwater. One thing is mapping, the next one is to protect it. We have a city growing, we have lots of farmers. They would like to be more and more efficient. They use lots of pesticides. We try to collaborate with the farmers not to use pesticides in certain areas. Oh, it's not easy, I can tell you. And of course, climate changes. We have also raising sea levels. In winter time, we have much too much water from up, from sides, from the bottom. And in summer times, we have too less water in the streams, in the lakes. So even we are doing good, making low water consumption, low amount of leakage, we still have this water balance that we have to develop on and manage better than we do now. So lots of challenges, the same as the one I see in California. And I think this knowledge sharing is very, very useful for us too.
Great. And Hans Peter, should we try again with the microphone or? It is still not working, I'm afraid. So let's turn to you, Matt. A utility in California.
Yeah, well, thank you, Michael. And again, thanks for.
Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but I heard most of what Lars said, and I will say that from my chair, it's almost the same point that are serious. First of all, in Denmark, from my chair, the threat of towards the groundwater from pesticides and other chemical compounds are really large at the moment. And it has been accentuated because the last couple of years we have been looking much more into this topic, and we have made what we call mass screening, where we screen for a large amount of compounds. And fortunately, we didn't find many compounds, but unfortunately, we found some of the compounds in rather large amounts. And that was new knowledge to us. And it seems that the compounds stem from the 90s and from the agriculture out there. And we have a large work ahead of us to try to mitigate this.
Yeah, and
yes.
when, of course, working with groundwater, it's the sum of all the activities over decades that we see the results from in the water quality in the groundwater. So that's an issue, of course. And then back to you, Matt.
No, of course, yeah, and thank you so much for including us. It's an honor for Molten Nagel to be a part of this discussion today. And then, Michael, as soon as it's safe, we would happily welcome you down here for a visit to Orange County. We look forward to that. But as far as what we're looking forward to here at Molten Nagel, there's water resource management is a big component of that. How we manage the different sources of water. We get most of our water imported from Metropolitan, but does it come from Northern California, the Colorado River, collaborations with groundwater agencies on opportunities to manage resources during emergencies, whether it be short-term or long-term emergencies. Those are some of the main focuses we have from our water resource management. And as we look at those different resources, what are the water quality impacts that need to be addressed? Salinity control or PFAS issues in groundwaters. Orange County Water District here in Orange County is taking quite of a lead role in addressing PFAS as they're looking at water quality issues. So we do look at how we can utilize data and data-driven programs to evaluate water resource management on a large scale, and how we see that transforming our use of water going forward. And that really just highlights the need, as we're evaluating resource management, the efficient use of water and ensuring that we are using every drop as efficiently as possible. So working closely with Max and the regulators of the state board, to really evaluate how to implement programs to encourage the efficient use of water. And then the last thing I would just add to that is, as we are looking at digital transformation and data-driven programs, how is the workforce development component of that being developed as well when we're adding those data elements to it? You know, bringing in data teams, using consultants to help manage and support data, and encouraging operators to understand and better utilize data to inform their efforts on a day-to-day basis. So there's a big workforce component that also is critical as we look at digitalization of our water sectors.
Yeah, and I know that's also an issue back in Denmark. Am I right, Lars? Or how are you the digital transformation and workforce?
Certainly, it's again very much the same in California and in Denmark. We believe that digitalization is the way forward. We have to handle our data better. We need better data. You know, in Denmark, circular economy is a big issue, and a utility as Aarhus Water, we are operator in the whole water cycle. And we want to balance the water cycle much better than we do today. To do that, we need more data. We have to handle overflows when we have stormwater and when we have those heavy rains. Today, people want to swim not only at the beach, they want to swim in the harbor, in the river of Aarhus. So we have to make sure that the water quality is top all year through. Now they're swimming in wintertime too, all of them. Earlier we could say only 6 months in a year we had to make sure that we had better water quality. Now it's the whole year. So I believe digitalization is a big issue for us too, to have the right data and use them in a right way, in a clever way. Much more modeling, much better modeling of the water flows in our system is a way forward for sure. Very much the same.
So if we were going to look forward for new ideas to collaboration and themes that we could pick up on later in later workshops and so on, moving on, I would like to ask the panel if you have any good ideas for us to work on in the future. Or I could start. I know that that using the water that you have being a scarce resource, Max and California, you're working with the non-revenue water and also making some targets for the utilities to focus on unaccounted for water. That's something you have been working on for quite a while. Is there anything in the future you think is a sort of an add-on? For instance, I can tell you that in Denmark we are not only looking at unaccounted for water, but also energy and so on.
Yeah, so let me speak to both of those. So on the non-revenue water, Denmark has had targets in place for all of its large drinking water utilities for some time now, and tracks performance. In California, we've learned from the Danish experience, and we're taking a slightly different approach to try to set individualized targets for over 400 different water systems, drinking water systems in the state. And we are going to be hopefully completing those regulations later this year. And that really then presents the opportunity to compare the Danish model to the Californian model, see where technologies are being deployed in each place for different uses, understand more from the data as we go forward, and seeing how the approaches to non-revenue water are playing out and being effective. So I do see opportunity for ongoing collaboration, sharing of data and experience in the non-revenue water space. Additionally, I think in the wastewater optimization space, there is certainly opportunity for additional pilots and collaboration. we are in California beginning to ramp up our efforts to see how much more co-digestion of organic waste can occur at wastewater treatment plants as a way of reducing methane emissions from organic decomposition at landfills, in addition to our composting strategy. And I think that the Danish experience with process optimization for reducing energy use and maintaining water quality at wastewater plants is really instructive there. And I know we've had some discussions about pilots, but I think there's more opportunity there going forward as well.
So what do you think about that, Hans Peter? Is it also something that that is of interest for the EPA in Denmark to?
Yes, I think that really is, especially on the wastewater front. We have a lot of problems in Denmark when the stormwater comes and when the heavy rains are hitting us. On the drinking water, I don't think there is the same threats toward the drinking water from the climate changes. But on the wastewater, there's definitely some problems that we have to handle. That's, yeah.
And what about the utilities in Denmark, Lars? I know that we were talking about earlier, and it was also mentioned during the signing that regulators sort of also can push the development and the utilities. You have actually, as the first utility in the world, chosen to push yourself by being certified with the Sustainable Development Goals. Why is that? Isn't there enough pushing from the regulators, do you think, or what?
Yes, but in Denmark in general, the SDGs, you can see it here, it has a great importance of what we are doing. And in a utility like Aarhus Water, it's really so important for us to see that what we are doing to use less energy, to be more efficient, to use less water and so on, is useful not only for the citizens in Aarhus or the citizens in Denmark, but it's useful all over the world. So if I can tell my colleagues in Aarhus Water, then if we can show the way to use less water, to lose less energy, less resources, then it can be used not only in Aarhus, not only in Denmark, but in California, in Germany, wherever we go, we can make a big difference. So for us in Aarhus Water, the SDGs have a big importance, and we use them as a communication platform too. So when we communicate with not only our customers, but with our authorities and with our colleagues all over, we very often use SDGs as a natural way to tell why we're doing as we're doing. But I also say it's part of our DNA. We have done that for years. We have tried to cut water consumption. We have tried to cut energy consumption. So it's not new for us, but it's new for us to do it in a worldwide perspective. And it's really a good feeling. And we can tell some of our new colleagues, come to Aarhus Water and you can do a good job here and you can help to save the whole world. That's I know it's big words, but still, that's the idea with the SDGs, I believe.
And if I turn to you, Matt, what about what Lars is talking about, the Sustainable Development Goals? I don't know how much all over America it's used, but anyway, I know that the customers, they have a Go Green agenda. Is that also something that you in the utility in California think about?
Yeah, and a lot of it is really driven by, again, the goals to be efficient and optimizing resources. I mean, we look at, we tell our customers to be efficient with their water use. So we look at our own objectives, our own actions to try and identify where we can continue to be efficient. So whether it be, you know, further collaborations and pilots on opportunities for wastewater resource recovery, working with, you know, local researchers and, you know, Santa Barbara and Davis on energy optimization programs to identify areas where we can continue to improve and manage our energy usage. And then again, continuing to be, you know, mindful of water loss control in those programs. I think there's ongoing opportunities to continue to collaborate, you know, not only with the folks in Denmark, but utilities in California and other agencies, you know, around the world on ways to continue to manage resources in the most effective and optimal way possible. And so I look forward to that. I think those types of programs only continue to, you know, help to reinforce our asset management and that life cycle asset management approach, you know, maximizing, you know, because at the end of the day, as a public utility, our goal is to maximize the investment dollars that our customers are making and getting the most out of all of our resources, whether it be the pipelines in the ground, the water that we're importing in, or the energy used to move it. So I think in looking at it from a life cycle asset management approach and really continuing to drive that from, you know, start to finish, there's a ton of opportunities for future collaborations on ways to continue to improve in those areas.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know, Lars, in Denmark, you're working with a water cluster idea. Can you tell a little about that? Why is that, and what are the idea about working together in a new way?
Just today, we're preparing a press announcement that we are starting what we call Water Valley Denmark, and it's inspired very much from California and Silicon Valley. We would like to, you know, in Denmark, like in California, the water sector is very fragmented, and we need a better national collaboration to fulfill our vision for the water balance in the future. So we are establishing what we call Water Valley Denmark, and we hope that it will be a really growing water cluster where we try to take all the Danish universities, all the big utilities, all the big industries, and together develop the future water utility in Denmark, and with lots of new technology and doing the best we can. So we after this Corona period we have had in Denmark, the government say we have to start up, we have to develop, we have to make some new technology developed, and then we say, okay, we can do it in the water sector. We would like to establish Water Valley Denmark, and if the government could help us with a few Danish kroner, then we believe then that we really can develop what's useful not only in Denmark but all over. So inspired from some of the clusters in United States, inspired from Silicon Valley, we are trying to get together in Denmark and develop together and innovate the water sector in a higher speed than we've done before.
And what will that? Is there any ways for Matt or other utilities?
We cannot do that alone. We need collaboration with clever people from United States. We would like to connect the Danish universities with Stanford University. We would like to collect the utilities, connect the utilities and share knowledge. And we believe that's a way to be better. You know, in Denmark, we have to cut our costs 2% every year. And even people are using less and less of our very good products of drinking water. So our economy is going down and down and down. So we have to develop more efficient solutions than we have now. and we would like to do that together with colleagues, not only from California, but all over the world.
So what do you think about that, Matt? A Danish water cluster looking into new ideas. I've also heard that you are talking about making a living lab where we can try different technologies in real.
Yeah, so my trip out to Denmark was extremely valuable. We took a lot of great information. I really enjoyed and was able to the way that the communications and the discussions were fostered there. And coming back from that, looked at opportunities to continue to implement different types of programs. I was extremely impressed with the way the Danish utilities are digitalizing data and utilizing that. So we have already started implementing some pilot programs, but then looking at how we could share that with our what we call our South Orange County communities. There's 10 to 12 different water utilities and just in our area, and how can we continue to build and collaborate on that? So yeah, we are looking at, we were inspired by the trip to Leaf Cock and the testing grounds they have for their leak detection technologies and tools and training. And so we're looking at a similar opportunity to potentially develop something like that at one of our sites. So it's been a very valuable collaboration and just sharing ideas and discussions. And I really look forward to the opportunities to continue to see what the next steps of those look like, through these clusters, as Lars is referring to, and how we could build that conversation locally and on a larger scale, with our Danish counterparts here and others going forward. I think there's a lot of great opportunity there.
Great. And I've actually seen in the chat that there is somebody mentioning that there is an issue in California with water quality as well, the PFAS. And as Hans Peter mentioned, in Denmark, we also have an issue with pesticides. So there might also be some kind of working together with regards to the water quality. What do you think about that, Max?
Yeah, I think it's a great avenue for future collaboration along all of these water quality issues. PFAS, of course, is the one that is top of mind for so many right now, because these chemicals are literally forever in the environment, and they've been used in so many different products and applications over the years. And I think part of the collaboration and opportunity for innovation is really looking at treatment technologies that aren't so expensive that they really impact affordability. Lars mentioned SDG 6, which really has to do with not only access to water, but having safe and clean water to drink, but then also being able to afford the water. And that's a big challenge we face here in California. Even before the coronavirus pandemic, many of our citizens struggle to afford paying for their water and wastewater services. Among many other utilities, cost of living is high, and we have high income inequality. And so one of the challenges that we're looking at the state level is what programs can we develop to help make the water affordable. And of course, that's a greater challenge because all of the things that we face, from the water quality challenges to the water supply challenges from climate change, are all drivers of increasing cost. And so balancing those investments and then the payments is really, I think, one of our greatest challenges from a governmental perspective. And we definitely think that the opportunity to collaborate with the Danish water sector and government on solutions is really fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. And Hans Peter, just the final remark maybe from you is we have some water quality issue. We also have the pricing model for water price. Is that something you can see the Danish EPA collaborate?
Yes, I really can. We have a major challenge also in Denmark with some of the chemicals, and PFAS is also a problem in Denmark. And the same with some of the pesticides and how to remove them from the water. To develop this technology would be a great thing also to us. So that would be a nice topic of collaboration. I think too that the analysis of the chemicals would be interesting to work with the mass screening, and in Denmark we are working on a non-target approach to finding the chemicals, and we have high hope in that, but I'm sure that we could use some help.
Well, thank you very much. Time is running, and I can see there's a lot of remarks also questions in the Q&A, and we cannot. But I promise that we will get back to you on that. What kind of questions and ideas for future collaboration? But I anyway have noted a lot of ideas. We still have the resources, the water quality, the data-driven decision making, unaccounted for water, research and development, facing these challenges we can see in the future in general, and also maybe the pricing model. So I think there's a lot of good ideas from this session, and I'm looking forward to look into the Q&As as well. Time is running, and so I have to thank you all for being part of the panel, also panel 2 and 1. And then I will just try to wrap up this short event. So yeah, so I'll promise to get back to you all on what we will do in the future, because it is very important that this MOU and the signing today is more than just a paper. It was the same with the first one. So I will promise that I will do my best to make this new MOU also not more than just a piece of paper, but actually working together. So I would like to reach out to you in the future with ideas for workshops, and also maybe pilot studies. Also, when maybe the Danish Living Lab is up and running, there might be some knowledge sharing as well. And also we have to wrap up in a minute, and then we will like to go back to our artist Ross, who has been making this live sketch, and see how it is going on with Ross. So I think he will try to upload the sketch. So this is sort of a sketch on what we have been talking about today. This is something that I will look. I would use a lot myself, because now it's sort of full circle for me entering this new MOU, and we will of course share this drawing with you in the future as well. So we will get back to all of you with a link to this video of the event today, and also ideas for the things to come in the future. One of the things that I would like to do as well is that I would like to make sort of a group who just from time to time touch base to make sure that we are actually on the right track and we are moving ahead. And also I know that in 2020 the IWA is having an event in Copenhagen, so that might also be a very good idea for doing something, maybe having a presentation of an actually project that has come out of this MOU. But anyway, I'm here in Silicon Valley, so please reach out to me if there's anything I can help with, or you have ideas for future collaboration. And then I'll just say that time is up, and stay safe and take care. And thank you everybody for attending today.